Hey guys, this is Joe from Analog Archive back with another video. Today's video is going to be a short one. I just wanted to get on quick to show the records that I picked up this year for Record Store Day. That was yesterday. I found two records this year that I really wanted. One of them actually was a last minute decision that I discovered the night before. But the other one was one that ever since the list came out in February, I knew that I needed to do everything I could to try to find it. Most years, I'm pretty selective with what I kind of want, and Record Store Day, the list usually, I don't find a whole lot that I really want, and most years I usually only end up buying like one record from the list, but this year I got two, so I'll kind of just show those. I got them two different stores. I went to a new store this year. It's called Needle Drop in Rochester, New York. Mostly known for like punk, hardcore, metal. I've talked about them on my channel. He also has an interest in jazz, and so I found some really great jazz records there in the last few years. So I lined up there. My dad and I went at about an hour before they opened, not really sure of whether or not there was going to be a huge line or not, and luckily there was only, I think, like 4 people in front of us. Most people that were in Rochester went to Record Archive. They said there was like 400 people that lined up at Record Archive, which was like insane because all the other stores around only had like maybe 20, 30 people or so that were lined up by the time they opened. So everybody flocked to Record Archive, and lucky for us, not a lot of people went to Needle Drop, and so we got a good place without having to get up super early, which was great. So first, the one thing I got there was this one. This is a Black Renaissance. This was the one that I didn't know about until the night before. I saw the post from Needle Drop, and he had mentioned in the comments that, or in the kind of the caption, that it was a great jazz reissue, and so I quickly streamed it and really loved what the sound was, and so this was really the reason why I lined up at Needle Drop, and really happy for this one. This one originally came out in the 70s, like late 70s. It was a Japan-only release, and there was like 2 different pressings. One that was in like the late 70s. There was one like the early 80s. And the first U.S. press was actually on this same label. It's Love and Hate in 2002. And then there was like a repress around like 2013. And then this one obviously was a Record Store Day one this year. Very happy to have found this. Haven't had a chance to listen to this yet. Did put it on the turntable to check for warping. Wasn't warped, which was great. But very excited for this one. A great one. Not a super, seemed to be a super popular one. And there was 2,500 copies of this, so very happy to have found this. I know Dave from the vinyl or the VC Ambassador also got this, but a great one. Very happy to have found that. So that was the one I got from Needle Drop. And then we went over to Hi-Fi Lounge. That's actually where 2 years ago I found the Quiet Kenny Dorham one. That one's kind of more of a hidden gem in Rochester when it comes to Record Store Day. Not as many people usually line up. There was probably, by the time they opened, there was around 20 or so people that had been in line. A lot of people were interested in Taylor Swift and the Jerry Garcia record, along with the Grateful Dead box set. There was plenty of that to go around, so I think people were pretty happy with what they found. My dad was looking for a few things. He wasn't able to get anything from Needle Drop, so us going to Hi-Fi Lounge, he was able to find what he was looking for. But one of the big things that he said he got in was the Albert Ayler box set. So this is a 4 LP, Albert Ayler, Europe 1966. People that have been watching my channel, especially the last few months, know that I really have been on an Albert Ayler kick, trying to get as much of his recorded material as I could. So as I said, 4LP, this was limited to 2,000 copies. I think originally on the website was 1,900, but 2,000 is what's said on the hype sticker. This was from like 4 different concerts across different locations in Europe. There's one in Berlin, there's one in Lorach, one in Stockholm, and then one at the Paris Jazz Festival, all in 1966, spanning from November 3rd, 66 to November 13th. So over the course of 10 days, these 4 different dates. Plays a lot of the songs that you hear on other Albert Ayler albums. You've got like Truth is Marching In, Ghosts, Bells, Spirits Rejoice, things like that. And there's a few repeats on this. I'm assuming that probably, just like most live jazz, that every recording is a little bit different. So excited to check this out. This is obviously going to be quite an undertaking, this 4LP kind of set. So, but very excited. Continue to add more Albert Ayler. Again, something a little bit different. Also, very excited about that. While I was at the Bop Shop, I always seem to find something new that I didn't see the first time or the time before. The owner, Tom, has slowly kind of been going through his collection and putting some stuff into the shop. He had he had Wildflowers 1 through 5, and I kind of went through a few of them. I looked at like the lineups, and I listened to this one, and I listened to number 5. I didn't really have kind of the time to listen to all of them, and so just kind of started with this first one and really liked the sound. It's the New York Loft Jazz Sessions. So this was actually recorded in, it was, I think, Sam Rivers' apartment, or at least that's what I think it says on one of the back of these. Let me see if it's on this one. Yeah, the Douglas Wildflower series was recorded at the loft home of saxophonist composer Sam Rivers during the 7 nights of the New York Loft Jazz Scene, a 5-record collection of 22 performances by over 60 major musicians. So it's kind of like a compilation. There's 5 tracks on this. First one, you've got Kala Purusha, who I'm not familiar with, tenor sax, Chris White, bass and electric bass, and Yuma Santos on the drums. You then got Ken McIntyre, alto sax, Richard Harper, piano, Andre Strobert, multiple percussion, Andy Vega. So that's the second track, is kind of Ken McIntyre's group. The third track is Sonny Murray and the Untouchable Factor, featuring Bayard Lancaster. So you got Sonny Murray drums, Bayard Lancaster alto sax, David Murray tenor sax, Conjamal Vibes, Fred Hopkins bass. David Murray is actually coming to the Bop Shop in June. I'm planning on going to that concert, so I'm excited to hear him. Just great free jazz saxophone player. B-side, you've got Sam Rivers group, so you've got Sam Rivers soprano sax, Jerome Hunter bass, Jerry Griffin drums, and then the final track is called Air, and it's Henry Threadgill's group. He's on alto sax, Fred Hopkins bass, and Steve McCall on the drums and percussion. So again, kind of like a compilation, just a great set of different tracks, different musicians on each of them. Great free jazz type stuff. This one was really enjoyable. Next time I'm there, I'm going to definitely check out the other ones when I have a little bit more time, but if they're as great as this one, I'm definitely excited for that. Not super expensive for these either, but I've seen the covers before. These are great covers, but I've never picked them up. Didn't really think too much about them, but excited about that. Last one was one of probably the biggest ones that I found on this kind of short trip for Record Store Day to Rochester. This was another one that came from the owner Tom's collection, and that's this is Live, Center of the World. This is it's Frank Wright, the great free jazz saxophonist in the 70s. He had stuff on like BYG Actuel. He had this record. This is on, I think it's on like a private press label, Center of the World's Productions. This was like a French-only press record. It came out in the late 70s. It was like 77. And I think there was some more recent pressings of it. I'm not familiar if it just stayed in France or if there was ever one that was in the US, but tougher one to find. Frank Wright is someone that Kieran from Needle Groove here on YouTube had shown a record. It was actually a BYG Actuel one from his trip to New York City like last week, and just the cover was really just it was a real cool image of him, and so I kind of saw it, tried to look out for his stuff, and came across this on the wall at the Bop Shop. So very excited to have this, just great free jazz. I don't think it has, oh, it does have the lineup on it. It's got, let's see, so it's got Bobby Few on piano and voice. You've got Frank Wright, tenor and soprano sax, along with voice. Muhammad Ali on drums and voice. And then it doesn't say on the back who's playing the bass on the cello along with voice, but you've also got that as well. Again, this was a French-only pressing from the late 70s. Great free jazz. Never seen this one before. Very interesting cover to it. It's kind of like this real kind of thin cover, and then you've actually got a hole in the middle of the cover so you can actually see the label. So that's actually the label. That's not part of the cover itself, but very excited to have found this as part of the trip, being able to pick that up. So just again, short video, just wanted to get on, show the 2 Record Store Day things I found, and then the other 2 that came with me going to Rochester. If you have not subscribed, please think about subscribing, and I will see you in the next vinyl video. Bye.